Hey, good morning, folks. Today is thrift store shopping day. It's one of Jess and I's favorite things to do when we have the same day off. We just hop in the car and we start driving and we hit all the mom and pop thrift store shops, the Goodwills, all the Salvation Armies and stuff like that. I got a bunch of loose bills together to delve them out and buy some weird collectibles and stuff throughout the day. I'll show you a video of the finds we have later. But let's do a bill search of them before I go and spend them. Alrighty, you got enough of my ugly mug for the beginning of this video, so let's just jump right into looking for some errors. See if we find anything that's misprints, fancy serial numbers, stuff like that. A little bit of repetition of 7s and 6s in the serial number, but nothing too cool. I like to look for a few different things on 5s when you're looking through them. There's some intricate detail here with the crest and the eagle and stuff that they added in the early 2000s for anti-counterfeiting measures. Look for stuff there, misprints and such. I don't usually find much here, but I've seen other people post ink smears and stuff where they've done this detail of the shadowing in the Lincoln Memorial there. So, and then of course around little Abe Lincoln himself. So keep an eye out for that stuff, but nothing on that bill. And I'll go through more, the rest of them a little quicker, but just to kind of cover some highlights. Same dealio with 1s, seals, serial numbers. Look for shifts in the seals. And of course, this one's really beat up. Conditions like 9/10 of the law with any collectible. So the more beat up it is, generally, the less valuable, unless you're talking something really rare. Really beat up on the back. I like to look for stuff around the seals. The depiction of the seal, front and back of the seal. And nothing too crazy. Look for where they have all these different lines and stuff and representations of the number 13 in the seal, stars, the stripes, so on and so forth. Look around there. And nothing jumping out there. Look for date notes. We found a good, kind of quasi-date note in the last video, but more importantly, some star notes, which was cool. On older $1 notes, you can look for mules. You can look for a little bit more issues with print since dollars from the 90s and stuff seem to have a little bit more of print issues on them. Really crisp $1 bill despite this fold here. They just changed the signatures up on the bills too, so those will be rolling out. Do not be confused with this little thumbprint looking thing. If you can tell, this one's really clear. You can see it's just excess ink printed through from Washington's coat. So you can see it outlined pretty clear. Now, if it comes through where it's like a full depiction of Washington, almost a silhouette, so to speak, or like an outline, then it's actually obstructing the word 1, and those can be worth like $5 or $10 if they're in good condition. Maybe a little more. Good repetition here too, but nothing clumped, no block repeaters. 2017 series is really common to have a little over ink on the 3rd digit from the left too. So I don't really hold on to those, but a few of you have commented that you're into them. Nothing on that guy. And nothing on the back. For a second, I thought this was kind of like a weird print going on, but I'm just tripping out. Flop these around. We'll go a little quicker through these now that we touched on some stuff to look for. Nothing in the serial number. Kind of cool in a way. Other things is like misprints with, where they print the denomination. There's also, if you see it faintly there, a little 5 that's in there. Sometimes the anti-counterfeiting measures don't get implemented into the bill correctly. Nothing too crazy. Looks like a little bit of excess ink or a wet ink transfer. But again, if it's not obscuring anything on the note, I don't really hold on to them. Really beat up 5. Nothing jumping out there. Glad you guys are enjoying the bill search videos. I've done them for quite a while. I'm getting back into doing them, almost daily or every couple of days as I get the money. Now that I'm handling a lot more cash buying and selling, collectibles out and about, gives me a better opportunity to do this with you. Kind of a double year note. I have a lot of people ask me about that. In my opinion, they're not really worth anything. One, in this case, 1185 and 1552 were before the United States even produced its own currency. So I like to stick to stuff that's going to be in at least U.S. history, since we're doing a U.S. banknote search. And they're just not going to command any value, really. I mean, there might be a few out there, but in most cases not. Kind of a neat serial number with a little repetition of 3s and 2s and stuff. But unless it's repeated across the whole serial number as a binary repeater is what they call it, two numbers repeating, I wouldn't say they're worth much. This is a good example of, this was like 2022, and it was 02/01/2022. That'd be a date note as I knock over my camera. February 1st, 2022, or a birthday note. Those are really popular. This one's just a good old $1 bill. And 2013. It's funny that we're not really seeing the major over ink we see on 2013 and 2017 in this search. This one's printed really well as far as everything being in the right spot. Little bit printed up and to the left, but just marginally. 2013. This is damage for sure. I don't even have to pull it close to the camera, but I will. So you can just tell that's like ballpoint pen or Sharpie or something. Nothing jumping out there. This bill's been wet. You can tell the way the ink is smeared. It's not a misprint. It's harder to tell on the camera, but if you were holding the note, you'd be like, yep, for sure. That was ran through some rain. Another good repetition note of 5s and 3s. Again, if they're not clumped together, I don't really hold on to them. They're not going to command anything, at least the people I've sold to. 2017A. 2017A, 2017, and 2013 are incredibly large runs with tons of bills. But that's good for us collectors, especially the small collectible stuff like star notes and basic fancy serial numbers and stuff. Because there's a ton of them. $10 notes. I love 10s for some reason. I just think they're cool. And then the U.S. Treasury buildings on the back, which I've always liked. And nothing there. Little bit of a stuck digit. You can see how that 5 is just kind of wonky, sitting a little higher. I wouldn't say this is a great example of one. But they can be valuable. So like basically the rotary dial that prints the serial number here and here gets jammed up due to not being lubricated properly. And so the digits get stuck and they get printed either high, low, out of place, kind of crooked, whatever. Those can be worth money if it's dramatic. Also, if the actual rotary dial is to print it semi-diagonal, which I've seen rarely, but have seen it, and you get it graded, those can be worth a lot. And 2009, a little bit older one, but nothing different in one since the 50s, so there's nothing to talk about there. This one's had damage down here. Somebody bled on it right here. And I thought we had something funky going on in the serial number, but my eyes deceive me. Nothing crazy there. Definitely let me know what you've come across in your bill searches lately in the comments. I love reading about it. If you're like totally lost or you're interested in getting into, precious metals or banknotes or coins or whatever, my book will be out at the end of the month, beginning of next month. It is like 300 pages. I'm going to make it cheaper than your Whitman's guides and Yeoman's stuff and all that. So that way it's just a good old... It is totally a beginner's guide. It is not meant to be like a price guide or anything like that. So if you got that one friend that's like, this is the weirdest, stupidest hobby ever, you can be like, hey, here's a copy of this $10, 300-page physical book, which books are like $85 now. So I'm going to make it as cheap as possible. And you can give it to your buddies and be like, here you go, or just have a coffee table read. But it covers modern coins, error banknotes, and gold and silver. So Maybe you'll find that up your alley. Beat up 5. Nothing on that thing. Nice little 2017 series $10 note. I have such random notes and a bunch of them, like I said, because we're going to go thrift store shopping, and I'm hoping to find some funky stuff to show you in a later video. This is kind of interesting. A little kind of cool with the 4s and 7s and stuff. This 7's also got kind of a funky over ink to it. Nothing really happening there. Back of the note. See, this is really common, that little wet ink transfer kind of deal. Got a little damage to this bad boy. Nothing. I mean, it's hard to tell, but through the camera. But in person, you can tell this is just some wonky ink. It's not the same tone as the rest of the ink on the bill. It's also on the bill, which is kind of, it doesn't coincide with the way that notes are printed. So I would say that's post-production damage. Another good clumped up 7s, 5s, but nothing really pattern-wise in the serial number, so. Beat up $1, 2009. Have a couple of those in this run. A little bit of highlighter on there. Greatest thing about this hobby, though, is like, dude, you know, you didn't find anything. You still have exactly the money you started with, so, you know, it's like you're totally unaffected if you don't find some epic $3,000 $1 bill or whatever. Nothing there. I don't know why I looked at that 16 times. I thought something was weird in the scene. Hey, all right. I'll take it. Beat up and tired looking. That's me. So I feel you, $1 bill. But this is a nice little replacement note. I don't see anything crazy print-wise. It's not a crazy low serial number. My rule of thumb is unless it starts with at least 4 zeros, I don't count it as a low serial number. It's correctly printed. Nice little replacement. So something happened basically in production. They replaced it with a new bill being this guy. And then they show that to keep count of it by adding that star on the end there. I love star notes. I mean, this one's beat up, doesn't have a fancy serial number, and it doesn't have like an error or anything. But I just love star notes, so I'll set it aside as just a small little win so far. But hopefully we find something cooler. 2017 A, couple of 8s, couple of 1s, nothing crazy. This thing's been lit on fire or something. Really beat up one. Even if it had any errors, it'd be very hard to tell. It's like coins, you know, if they're ran through a dryer, stuff like that. It looks almost as if it's an error, but it's actually just totally tarnished. Double 4s. Nothing there. Really beat up. I thought maybe I saw a little something as I flipped it, but it's just this funky crease damage, so nothing cool. This would have been cool if we would have had 493, 2 zeros, and 493. That's, well, it's a repeater, but also referred to as bookends, since it's got the same thing on either end. Those can be worth a few bucks over face value, especially since this dollar's not too jacked up. Unlike the one I see peeking out there. And nothing on the back, but cool example of a cool serial number. Or what could have been. Nice beat up $1 bill. Somebody took a bite of it. Some termites ate it or something. Little bit remnants of a counter stamp. But unless it's a full stamp, and even then, you got to find the right collector. I like stamp notes. I would give you a few bucks, at maybe $2 or $3 for a dollar bill. But I just like stamp notes, so. 2013, a little bit of excess ink next to that 2 there, but it's not really dramatic enough for me. Last couple, knock them out at the same time. Again, that would have been sweet if we had 00833 It wouldn't have been, you know, too crazy. Ironically, somebody wrote an 8 there. I wish we had it here. That would have gave a little, maybe a couple bucks over $5, but this thing is thinned out from just wear and tear. So that would have really kept it from having the best value it could have had. Last but not least, a few digits off from a broken ladder serial number. Nothing really jumping out on the front to me. And nothing on the back. Got almost a broken column. They better get that fixed. What did we hold on to? A little fine for this one. I'll take what I can get. Nice little serial number, Star Note serial number, $1 bill. He is almost a one-eyed Washington. He's all beat up looking. But hey, I'll take what I can get for a small find in this bill search. Let me know what you've come across in the comments below on your bill searches. Hopefully you found something much more valuable than I did. But I can't wait to hear about your coin and banknote finds in the comments. I'll see you there, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.